Okay, welcome back to my channel. And this is the PyCharm IDE that we use to code, right? So I'm going to show you how we can set up a project and use Git and GitHub services on our project to have version control and a remote repository that is being saved so that you can recover the data in case you have some failure in your code or your device. So we can start a new project by going to File and clicking on New Project, and here we have to specify the project name as well as the interpreter that we are going to use. So we can use the virtual environment, or even we can use an existing interpreter. So you can click on this one if you like to add a local interpreter that you already have, such as a conda environment. But for this example, we will create a new project and we will be using a new virtual environment. Okay, let's give this a project name as let's say test app or something, and I will click on create. I will use a new window, and that will open up a new window with that project. So this is that new window with that project called test app. So for this project we are already inside a virtual environment, as you can see here on the terminal, and there are no additional install packages. So what we have to do is we have to go here, and we will have to go to this version control section, and we will have to enable version control integration, and here we will have to select a version control system to be associated with this test app. Okay, we can use Git for this, right? And I will click OK. So as you can see, now the things started to change and the interface might look a little different. Here we have this Git menu over here, as well as we have this commit section over this side as well. So as you can see, this main.py file turned red, which means that this file is not under version control. So we will have to add this file first to be included in the version control service. So now let's make a commit. Commit is a change that we save in our version control system. So to do that, we go here, and okay, I think we can do it from here in the master branch. So we are already editing the main code base, so we can click on commit here, and after that what we can do is we can click on this checkbox, and then add a commit message. So this is basically a description for the change that you already have. Okay, so we can say that this is the starter code maybe, and then we click on commit. Okay, now can you see all the files turn green, as well as now the red font that appeared for this main.py disappeared, and now it appears in white, and we have made a commit for this one. So now you can go to this bottom section over here where it says Git, and here you can click on the master branch, right? So here can you see there's a thing called starter code which we just added a minute ago. It's important that you realize that all these things are still in your computer. It's in the local branch, right? That's why it is mentioned here as local. So still these things are not being reflected on the cloud. To reflect these changes on the cloud, you need to have a GitHub account, right? So what you need to do is you have to create a GitHub account and use those credentials in PyCharm. So you can go to github.com and create an account, right? So you go over the sign up procedure and make sure that you have an email and a password, or else you can also use tokens to configure your PyCharm to log into the GitHub account via some web interface that's available. So you can sign up here. So I already have an account, but you can go through this process and create the account so that you have the credentials for you to log into your GitHub account. And the next thing that you need to do is you have to add that your GitHub account to your PyCharm. So you can do that by going to settings, and under version controls you can go down and you can select GitHub, and here you can add a GitHub account, right? So you can click on this plus mark and log in via GitHub or use tokens. You configure all that and your account will appear here. Okay, so in order for you to publish this local branch to the cloud, you can click on this master and you can click on push. So here we have this option. So it says master to define remote, right? So here what you need to do is like you have to add the GitHub URL for you to do this. So in order for you to get a URL, what you need to do is like create a GitHub project or a GitHub repository on the cloud service. So you can go to github.com and then create the repository over there. So it's really easy. So you can sign in after you have the username and password. So now we need two-factor authentication for us to log in. So I will have to pull up the authenticator on my device and put that code here, and it will verify. And now we are in our main GitHub. So you can go to repositories, and what you can do is like you can create a new repository. So click on this one, and here you can create a repository. Let's say this as test app, maybe the same name, and can be private or public, and you can add a readme file if you like. But anyway, let's create this repository. After creating this one, you will get this URL, right? So you can copy this URL for this repository and add it to your PyCharm. So here you can edit here, okay, and click on OK. After doing all that, can you see? Now you can click on push. So after pushing, these code files will be available, right? So it's under origin master. So now if I go to GitHub, we should be able to see the changes. So you can refresh this page, and can you see now the main py file appears here, and this is the file that I had under version control in my PyCharm project, right? So now what you can do is like maybe you can uh, write a for loop here. Let's write a simple for loop for I in range 10. We will just print the things out. Print. Okay, let's run the code and see the for loop in action. It prints from 0 to 9, and now what you can see is like this appears in blue. So we need to push these changes, right? So you can click on commit and push, but first you need to select what you need to do, right? So I will click on this tick mark and I will click on commit and push, right? So before doing that, you can like add a comment over here, added for loop, let's say, and I will click on commit and push, and I will select the file. Okay, I think I already committed, so I need to see whether it appears in my GitHub profile. Let's see. It doesn't appear, so it means that something went wrong. Okay, maybe I make a small change here, and then I can send the change by clicking on commit and push, right? Because I did a mistake earlier. The options to check the file went away. So now I can click on commit and push, and here I'm going to push it to the main branch on the GitHub. So I'm doing that. Let's see whether the changes gets reflected on my GitHub. So if I refresh the page, now you can see that we have this function with a for loop. So that's one way to use Git and GitHub on your PyCharm project. Thank you very much for watching.